in the gap for me. I believe heaven that will be present for me. So I'm not by myself. Even if it looks like to the world around me, I'm all alone. Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Because today I want to talk about transformation. It's an inside job that takes you renewing your mind, refocusing your energy, and getting yourself into a better position where you're reinvigorating your willpower. Because the decisions that you made yesterday shaped who you are today. And a lot of us aren't always mindful that some of that was because you were dealing with some core human drives. There's some things that drive us on a regular basis. And there are 8 things that I have learned along the way that drive people to do what they do. The first one is a drive to bond. You want to bond with others. So there's things that you will specifically do so that you can bond with someone. There's a drive to be known. You want to make certain that you are known for something in the world. So there are certain things, actions, or thoughts that you will automatically do to get you seen in that light. There's also the drive to know. This is a situation that sort of brought you here today, a drive to know something to do different, something to be better. And in that regard, you get the opportunity to get that drive met. Then there's a drive to grow. A lot of us already know that where we are is not exactly where we want to be. So in order for you to get to a different direction, you have a desire and a drive to grow. Then there's a drive to acquire, the drive to accomplish, the drive to be significant, and the drive to satisfy. Knowing this will help you pay attention to what's driving your behavior, because the more you are aware of what's driving your behavior, the better it is for you to be able to move into a different direction. But the behaviors that often drive us need to be satisfied, and we will satisfy them both consciously or unconsciously. Now, if you're more conscious of the behaviors that you are dealing with, then you have a way of making certain that you're intentional about what happens next in your life. But if you are unconscious, then you start doing some things that can be toxic to you internally or externally. And either way, it is still not a good thing to have that happen to you, because you can often put yourself in a position where you're around toxic people. And if you have toxic people that are surrounding your life, it will drive your behavior. You start doing things you didn't think you would do, acting certain ways you didn't think you would act. That can be heartbreaking and disheartening. And then one day you look up and you're wondering, what happened? How did I get here? What's going on in my world? Well, today I want to walk you through some of those things so that you can be a little more conscious. Because if you're aware that there are behaviors that are driving your life, and mindful that you can make some adjustments, because things in your past you have made adjustments for, you can do so again to get healed, to get whole and move into a better direction. There's a quote I want to share with you. So Richard Buckminster Fuller, he said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." So this is a discussion about displacement. And as an electrical engineer, the nerd in me sometimes show up. So I will have a conversation about some words that may sound a little nerdy. But displacement is simply transferring the energy of something for another. You cannot have something in a brand new space until you put something else there. My grandmother used to say, baby, if you're going to clean around the house, make certain that you clean or you move things around. So when you move for furniture around, you will notice that inside of that area where you move the furniture, it's clean. That's because that space has something replacing it. So dirt doesn't accumulate there as fast because it's something that's in place. When you're ready to get rid of an emotion that is sabotaging your soul, you've got to replace it with something else. You can't just say, I'm no longer going to forget about that. And with a lot of us coming on the heels of our divorce, you have to replace an entire existence, an existence that you once had with someone else. There is going to be something replacing it. Right now, you may just be replacing it with hurt feelings and past memories of what you wanted to have, or future visions of what you thought would be and no longer can be. So let's take a few moments and assess where you are. Do many of you recognize now that there may be some toxic behaviors, some people, places, or things that you have encountered, that you are clear it is time to create a new model so that you can replace the old model, the old way of thinking, the old way of doing things, so that you can be in a better position. This new paradigm can shift your behaviors. And I want to give you 3 things that you can use now to break those unhealthy ties. The first thing, minimize your association with people, places, or things that are toxic, abusive, undermining, or damaging your self-worth. Sometimes when we end up in a place where after our divorce, we got there because of some of the toxic behaviors that we were encountering on a regular basis. You found more bad days than good, or you found some basic core values of your being that were just being trampled on, and you know that wasn't right. And you no longer wanted to put your self-worth as a landing pad for somebody else's drama and chaos. This will give you the chance to be mindful. There's going to be some people that you're going to still have to interact in your life because of the life that you built with the ex, especially if you have children. But sometimes, even if you don't have kids, you built a relationship with some people. Maybe you have to take a look at how they respond now on this side. There are a few individuals that are in my ex's life, his family members, that initially discarded me because of the words that he was saying. But after a while, they got the chance to pay attention and remember, all these things you're saying, that's not exactly how I remember or started dealing with Tanya. And so they came back on their own to develop a relationship with me. And so now I have a specific relationship with them that I don't have with him, even though they are his family. I'm still mindful of that. But it did give me an opportunity to connect with someone that I did once because I was in that family for 16 years. At one point, they were half of my life because my whole adulthood was surrounded with just them. I got divorced at 32. And so that for me was like a brand new age because I'm like, how am I starting over in my 30s? And to me, that seemed like I messed up or missed something. But then I discovered you don't mess up or miss when you're ready to reset your life. That leads me to the next part. Don't share your problems with unproductive people because at 32, in my mind, the other 30-year-olds that I saw in my world thinking, okay, we're all around the same age. I can share what's going on with me and maybe we can figure out how to get to a better position. If those people aren't moving forward in their lives, sharing your problems will not be a support for you or them. So surround yourself with people that can give you solutions. I discovered that solutions come in different ages, stages, or sizes. You don't have to be a certain age to get solutions. There were lessons that I learned from watching some of my children's friends get older. As they were trying to navigate some elements of life, there were a few things they just decided they just weren't going to do. And then it hit me. Okay, I'm so giving and so loving and supportive that I just give and give and give instead of taking a moment to say, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Which leads me to this next part. Examine your relationships. I had to make a decision and go through deciding who is really supporting me. And I had to start putting people on different levels. Who was the best one to help me grow? Who was the best one to help me heal? So I often talk about the levels of relationship. And I share this often in the light of a story of you being a house. A house is comforting. A house for us always represents home and safety and security. I want you to think about who you are as a house. As a house, you bring people in to protect them, to comfort them, to keep them, to nurture them. A house does all of that for us. That is level 1. And level 1, I want you to start paying attention to who needs to be level 1 individuals, because not everybody at this point needs access to you. There are some people that can handle your stuff. So watch the capacity of those around you. Because depending on what you're going through, even if someone has been in your life, like a friend of mine, we have known each other since 2nd grade. We'd gone through a lot of what I thought our adult modes and the stuff that we were working through together. So in my mind, she could handle my stuff because we'd gone through, at that point, our whole lives together. And so she had walked through all of my experiences with me, but she was not married. So she didn't understand divorce. She was not a mother. So she didn't understand all the elements with my kids. So as I shared with the one person that I often shared my stuff with on a regular basis, she couldn't handle it. And because she couldn't handle it, I did not move her to a different level until it became toxic to our friendship. So I want you to analyze now who in your world are currently level 1 friends close to you. Do they bring value? Because level 1 people need to bring value to you as much as you bring to them. Sometimes we, especially those of us that are supportive, when you are a person to support and give, you think it will be reciprocated. That's not always the case. That is not always a true statement. So I want to encourage you to pay attention to who's in the house. And if you have somebody that once upon a time was in the house, you may need to move them to the next level. So level 2, think about level 2 as the fence around the house. There are people that you still like, people that you want to hang out with, but you know that you got to keep them just a little bit further away. That's a boundary that can support you. So set aside a thought process about who are level 2 relationships. It doesn't mean you love the other individuals any less that used to be level 1, but you recognize they don't have the capacity to support you where you are. But see, there may be 1 or 2 things that's in your life that they can handle. Find out what those areas are in your life that they can handle. And as they can handle a little bit, if you feel they can handle a little more, they may be able to move back into the house. But my suggestion to you is one of the things that I did. I decided to see who would call me because it dawned on me one day, because I'm so giving, so supportive, and typically I've been the core of the people around me. I always called them. They were connected and stayed so connected to my life because I kept calling them and I kept including them. So I gave myself 30 days. Give yourself 30 days and don't call anybody. Answer your phone when someone calls, but don't specifically call them. See who checks on you. See who recognizes that they're not getting your call. Those people are people that you can more likely keep as level 1 friends because they're considering you. They're thinking about you. They're supporting you. And then there's level 3. Level 3 is outside the fence. That's the public. That's the general public. That's the life after divorce group. There are people in there that you don't know. They have some common elements that you may be walking through, but operate accordingly because they're still the public. You operate with the public to see where the support and where you need to put them. And I just use these 3 levels because it's easy to remember. Level 1, you're the house. Who has access to the house? Level 2, the fence. They can come in from the public, but you don't know them enough to let them in a house. If you're not going to let them in your personal house, you don't let them inside of your emotional house either. And then level 3, with the public, when you change what you think about how people are, look to see who's being supportive. Because for some individuals, I'm level 3, but there's some support that you can still get. And as we get to know each other and do a little bit more, I may become level 2 for you. But you have to assess what that means so that you can get some support along the way. Because when you start making adjustments in your mind, then it's often like, okay, here's what I need to do. Don't be overwhelmed. You are not in this by yourself. Because what helped me be the most impactful on my journey was being fully clear from the top of my head to the soles of my feet that I am not alone. I'm not alone physically because I can connect with those around me. Sitting on the edge of my bed trying to figure out how did I get here, but I knew there was a way of getting through this. So I decided to do an autopsy on my marriage. Red alert, is he the one? The pocket guide to finding a love of your life. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. But I want you to know that there are going to be moments, and it's going to be more moments than you desire. But I want you to sit in them. I want you to be present in it. And so for today, if anything that I've shared with you resonates, then it's time to reset. So like, comment, and share this information with others. And if you believe like I believe that the creator of the universe is joining you on your journey, then you know you're not by yourself. Because with Jesus as my big brother and my God, I can sit in the moments and share the pieces with him that I can't share with anybody else. There's be moments that some of you have heard me say, you got to get it out your soul. So write out what you need. And if you're not a person that writes or journals, then you just have to speak it. I have often spoken the words that I needed to get out of my soul, knowing that heaven hears. And because I believe heaven hears me, I believe heaven will stand in the gap for me. I believe heaven that will be present for me. So I'm not by myself. Even if it looks like to the world around me, I'm all alone.
And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work For Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.